Within the last hour, police have cleared the scene at Westtown Mall after a shooting late this afternoon, and that's where we find News 3's Matthew Simon live with the latest. And Matthew, I understand there was some police activity in the last half hour or so.
So as far as we know, at this hour, they are still looking for the shooter suspected in this case. We take you back to 5:30, and if you know the mall, this is the Men's Warehouse right here. If you go into the mall, there are women's apparel stores. There are kiosks in the middle of the mall that have cell phone stores there, and there's a children's play area. This fight about 5:30 goes through all of that, goes through the mall into the food court area there, carries out into the parking lot. When it gets to the parking lot, police tell us about 5:30, one of the suspects in the small group, the police tell us they know each other. Police say at this point the suspect opens gunfire here and then takes off and opens up with more shots.
Oops, my bad. That was 10 months ago. That episode of large-scale black mob violence with shooting in Madison was 10 months ago. There was another one today. It was basically the identical story. A whole bunch of black people fighting in the mall, fighting in the food court, 10, 20, 30, 50 people, depending on who you believe, 15 gunshots, lots of panic, people having panic attacks, hundreds and hundreds of people running around, going in, looking for shelter. Anyway, one big chaotic mess. Why don't we listen to a little of the police scanner for a minute or two?
People saying 16 shots fired. 10 male blacks involved. The caller saw 2 male blacks running tall and thin towards center court. One was wearing an orange t-shirt with gray stripes. 10 male blacks, though. One clothing description said orange shirt with gray stripes. I got descriptions in here too. Kiera saw 2 male blacks, 18 to 22 years of age, long dreads, dark jeans, shirts, jackets. Saw them going out of the main entrance of Sears, leaving the main entrance of Sears.
Take 4, Frank 11. Witness of 2 male blacks taking their shirt off and switching shirts, running towards the food court right after it happened. 1023, what up? Maybe in a store still out the back door. One wearing a black hoodie, one wearing a gray hoodie, and the third with a dark blue coat on. That's all I have. Subjects are young, male blacks. 2 with tan Timberland boots.
Madison is kind of like Berkeley. Both centers of these big institutions of pure liberal identity, these colleges, University of Wisconsin-Madison, University of California, Berkeley, both centers of black mob violence, but lots and lots of black on white crime because liberal college students are the softest targets you can imagine. Tons and tons of it in Madison. I've documented a lot of it here and in my book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. But it's funny, you talk to reporters from places like Madison or Berkeley, or even people who live there, when you say, hey, what's up with all that black on white crime in Madison or the black mob violence in Madison? Why don't you guys do a story on that? Is that worthwhile? They go, no, Colin, no. Colin, no, you don't understand. We're colorblind, Colin. What difference does it make what color a person is when it comes to that stuff? Well, then I gently start suggesting that, well, you didn't have any trouble, talking about Black Lives Matter and all their fairy tales about relentless white racism against black people. That wasn't even true. That was very race conscious. You reported that. You report all these other race conscious stories, all with the same theme, that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything. But in Madison, you have all these episodes of large-scale black mob violence in the malls, in the streets, other places, and the reporters don't want any part of it. I mean, that's one of the reasons we're doing this channel. We're doing these videos, right? I was on talk radio in Madison a few months ago, and I was actually a little bit surprised to be invited there because this is a place. When you say liberal, to me, an important or essential part of being a liberal is shutting down anybody who disagrees with you. That's a plain fact. and the intolerance is an essential part of it. Anyway, so I go on Madison, Wisconsin radio, and I'm talking to the guy. I'm telling him very plainly, listen, you guys in Madison have a problem with black on white crime. And I started, talking about times, dates, and places that happened. Your paper pretended it wasn't black people, but it was. And the guy goes, yeah, my son was the victim of that. He said he was just at a parade and a bunch of black people just came up and started beating the hell out of him. So here we have it in Madison. We've got this talk show host's son, who's a victim of black mob violence. The guy probably thinks this doesn't happen in Madison. Maybe he thinks it doesn't happen there a lot, but it does. Oh yeah, last thing. Last year, right on the first video we saw was from February of 2015, and from December to February, the Christmas shopping season, I documented 25 episodes of black mob violence in malls all across the country. But if anybody, if you guys might remember, I didn't remember this till I saw it in my own story. I wrote it for American Thinker. I didn't remember that last year at this time, the big story was we have to protect our shopping malls from ISIS. They were going to come here and shoot the malls up, and blow them up, or I don't know what they were going to do. But it turns out, over 20, so I documented every one, boom, boom, boom. A lot of the videos are still up, some of the videos are not, but in the story, lots and lots of links to the videos. So we already had a couple episodes like that this year, but this is the biggest one so far. So, that's why we're doing these videos, right? Because the local paper, they're just loath to talk about this. They're loath to talk about the central organizing feature of the people involved in the violence. That they are black. And this is not an isolated thing. This happens all the time in Madison, Wisconsin. Lots of other places too. This is Colin Flaherty reminding you head out to the mall for a little Christmas shopping, a little post-Christmas shopping bargain hunting between now and Valentine's Day. Just remember one thing. Don't make the black kids angry.